We can do it.
Good luck, us. What the heck was that?
I was getting my butt settled in.
My butt hurts. You need comfier chairs.
I know. We've been doing an extra long session in here tonight. Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. You know, we always talk about Patreon and how we invest in the show. We need to invest in some...
Are you saying we need to invest in our butts?
Or some butt pads for these chairs.
It's not the worst idea. We do sit in these chairs a lot. I mean, I have the swivel chair that I use for all the demo stuff. I recognized, like, I'm sitting in here a lot and I needed a comfier chair. We need comfier chairs for the podcast. The thing I guess if we just got pads, then these chairs would be fine. I worry about getting really big, nice chairs because then I have to store them somewhere in the garage. We're sitting on like cheap Costco folding chairs here, guys.
Yeah. Are the stools, would we just be sitting too high? Is that the problem?
Yeah, I don't.
All right, whatever.
I think I worry about us swiveling too much.
You know what I worry?
The stools would probably actually grab it. See how you like it, Steve. Grab the stool. Be somebody. Steve's gonna grab the stool. That's actually stool 2.0. I had a different stool that I bought from Costco and it broke. So I bought this one off of Amazon.
This is kind of high.
Yeah, that's a bit of a high stool. But we can actually raise the table. So it really doesn't matter.
The seat's kind of small.
We just need butt pads for the chairs that we're sitting in.
Yeah, I think.
So anyways.
Is my butt big? I think my butt's bigger than yours.
You do have a bigger butt than mine. I have a little butt, which is unfortunate for me. It makes my seating situation more uncomfortable over long term, I think. But anyways, Steve,
but it makes it easier to find chairs that work for you. Maybe.
Is the guitar solo dead?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh my gosh, that's the thing we all want to know.
The guitar solo's not dead. It's just moved on to metal.
Guitar World posted an article about this, and it's really just a puff piece. Like,
did you read it?
I browsed it, and it's like 5 paragraphs that are just like a general overview of the history of guitar solos, which is fine. It's fine to ask that.
You actually read more of it than I did.
It's actually fine to drop that question and have it milk comments for your internet site, because that's what we're doing here. We're dropping a question. We're having a discussion. We're hoping that you click because you liked the clickbait, and you're going to continue the discussion in the comments. But anyway, Steve, is the guitar solo dead in the 21st century?
Well, first of all, we're in the 21st century.
That's what I said. Is the guitar solo dead in the 21st century?
I thought you said in the 20th century.
No,
that's what I heard.
No.
Are you sure? Rewind the tape. Guys, rewind the tape.
But anyway, Steve, is the guitar solo dead in the 21st century?
Let us know what Ryan actually said. I don't know. I'm trying to...
I'd say that the guitar solo is more alive than ever. Just no one wants to hear it.
I think maybe the issue is it's like the guitar solo in terms of I think it's less of the guitar solo being dead and more of the verse, chorus, bridge, instrumental, chorus, song structure being dead.
Millennials killed strong song structure is what you're saying.
Maybe. I just don't, I'm trying to think, I guess the argument, there's different arguments to be made.
Make one of them. I dare you.
I posted on Twitter that Van Halen invented the guitar solo. Because when I saw this go up, I don't know why it was like, I just logged into Twitter and this article was there and I was like, well, yeah, like the guitar solo was dead and then Van Halen, and then, he got it going for a while and now it's dead again. And then someone else will be the new Van Halen. And it was really late at night. And when I woke up in the morning, there were all these people who were like, what about AC/DC?
So you sincerely posted that. You didn't do it as a joke.
Yeah, no, I was just like not really I was like, well, because I literally thought I was thinking of specifically of popular music.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, 1978, you got Van Halen. And what's going on in like pop music in like 1976, 1977, 1978 is like disco.
Right.
So that was just my thought process is like, well, your choices were Captain and Tennille, or the Bay City Rollers, and then Van Halen came and fixed everything. And I basically forgot that Led Zeppelin existed, AC/DC.
Like that's probably the way that
like Kiss, like Riff Rock was, Riff Rock existed,
That's like a super simplification of it, and that's probably the way like the history books will write about it in like 400 years. It's like first there was disco, and then Van Halen, and those were the only things that happened.
Edward of Halen. And
Sir Edward of Van Halen.
Yeah, Edward of Halen and his brother Alex of Halen.
There's, in my opinion, there's no reason to sit around wringing our hands like, oh no, guitar is dead. Oh no, solos are dead. Oh no. Make the music that you want to make. Like, it's such a gamble getting any music to be popular anyways. Sincerely work on the music that you like. And if there's enough people doing that, they're going to make music that people like listening to. So if you like listening to guitar solos, work on your craft, work on guitar solos, work on making them have pop appeal. And I'm not saying make a pop song. I'm saying make them have popular appeal so that other people who don't just play guitar want to hear this musical bit of wanking that you've come up with,
right. I think,
like you ask any general like music listener, like, hey, do you want to listen to a minute and a half of someone playing a guitar solo? Or do you want to hear the meat and potatoes of the song? Do you want to hear the lyrics? Do you want to hear the beat? You want to hear the bass line? You want to hear the rhythm stuff going on? And they're going to choose the meat and potatoes. They just are. Well, so you have to figure out how to make the solo that you want to play because it's fun. It's your moment to shine. You have to figure out how to make that the meat and potatoes of the song.
Well, and some of the things that they point to in here is, I guess, Metallica's Saint Anger album had no guitar solos on it. I don't know. I had not listened. I don't think I've listened to that album. Jack White did a collaboration with Beyonce in 2016 that had no guitar solos on it. And they basically compared that to Van Halen was on Michael Jackson tracks playing guitar solos.
Right.
Well, Van Halen was on Michael Jackson tracks writing guitar solos for Jennifer Batten to play.
I mean, Jack White plays guitar solos. He definitely does.
No, he's just saying that he didn't do it when he was...
Right, but I'm saying that he's also the singer frontman of stuff that he does. It's not a total given that if Jack White shows up in something that you're going to get a pitch-shifted guitar solo. I mean, it's pretty likely, but it's not an automatic given.
So the thing that goes on here is, it talks about is some of it is... And this is, I guess this is the clapback for, the people who are like, oh, you're ignorant of music history, is what they are saying in here is currently when you go on Instagram, hashtag guitar solo has 2.7 million posts on Instagram, 207 million views on TikTok. Guitar solo produces 50 million hits on YouTube. Now, some of those are new or not, but what is true and kind of leads into this is that guitar solos aren't like a mainstream thing. Mm-hmm. But the thing that they point out, which is this is the hard hitting data that I want, is we think about the 80s as like, oh, the 80s was like
pure solos, constant shredding.
Their claim, and this is this originally appeared in Total Guitar, which I think is a UK pub. In the 80s, their claim is that not a single end of year chart topper, so that's 10 songs,
right,
had like a strong lead guitar.
I think it's easy to get like disillusioned and be like, oh man, this period of time had all these guitar solos, and it certainly did, but that doesn't mean that it was taking over, pop music. Like, if people still wanted that meat and potatoes thing I was talking about,
Here's the best part in here. The electric guitar is a minority interest, but so is owning a hamster. This does not mean that hamsters are dying out. there's a few gems in here. This is actually a pretty well written article. I think. It talks about.
No, I was never dissing on the article.
No,
I was
know.
I was just saying like it's a prompt. It's a prompt, and we're going to use it as a prompt.
And one thing they do drop on here. Very true. Not a soloist in a conventional sense that we're thinking of, but definitely her music is just guitar solos. Go listen. You want solo guitar work or majority guitar driven work? Go listen to Covet.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, there's all sorts of like, big name guitarists.
Yvette Young is writing killer guitar riffs.
Right.
Like that is definitely lead guitar. It's just not maybe a traditional solo.
I mean, you got the boomer mentality out there. This, I'm not hearing, Led Zeppelin style solos anymore. There's people playing different styles of music now. There's people playing capital G guitar music right now that doesn't have much else going on in it other than a hard focus on guitar. It's just not the classic rock solo that you crave for whatever reason. But there's plenty of that going on right now, but it's outside of pop music. There are niches all over the place. Niches. Oh my gosh. People are going to unsubscribe if I say niche one more time.
Niches?
Niches.
So here's something that someone brings up too, as I skim this in. This is actually also kind of interesting. This person is claiming, I don't know how long they've been writing, that in the late 90s, people who wrote for like alt rock magazines and metal magazines are like, oh, metal's dead. There's no more guitar solos in metal, because that was like Korn and Limp Bizkit and new metal and rap rock.
Right.
All this stuff that was very like riff heavy and not, your Metallica, meadly, chugga. It was all chugga, no meadly. But the biggest hit of 1999 was Santana's Smooth, which is like
nothing but solo.
It's just like a monster. So their whole thing is like,
and it's like not just a solo. It's just like the same riffing, like every 15 seconds,
right.
letting Rob Thomas say a couple lines and then
So the that's Maria wrong song.
Same difference.
So what's pointed out here too is this can be genre specific. So is guitars solo or guitars? People always say, oh, guitar's dead in pop, but it's not in country.
Here's the thing:
we just had the Grammys. Maren Morris performed at the Grammys with frickin' John Mayer.
Guitars all over the place. Guitars are in all kinds of genre. The thing that people are complaining about when they're like, oh, guitar's dead, dying, blah, blah, blah. They're upset because they don't think guitarists are in control anymore. Right. And they want to feel in control. Like, oh, there's no more new Eric Claptons. There's no more John Mosses and stuff. They want the guitar frontman mentality.
Yeah.
We should, like every single other instrument in rock music and pop music and in modern Western music for the past 50 years, 70 years have been taking a backseat to this egocentric guitarist mentality. When the bassist has been sitting back there, there's not a lot of like bass oriented music that's just like, oh, the bassist runs the show. This is all about waiting for that bass solo. Like you're supposed to
like Rush.
You're supposed, like every instrument is supposed to be part of the band, not the icing on top of the band that you think is the most important part. We want all the instruments in the recipe for the cake.
I would say that's actually a really interesting take on it, because as far as frontman instruments, like the guitar is a convenient frontman instrument.
It is.
If you're Elvis, you're just throwing on a guitar because it looks cool and like maybe you can or can't. I don't know. Like I don't think of like
it goes well with dancing, goes well with prancing around the stage. It makes a cool sound when you bend a note really cool and stuff like that. They can be bright red and sparkly and have wiggle sticks on them. They're cool. Guitars are cool.
It's definitely fun to watch country singers do like the national anthem or whatever. Because there's definitely these guys who like will go out there and they're very good singers, but you can tell like they don't know what to do with their hands, and you're like, that's why you're holding a friggin' acoustic guitar.
Right.
It's not because like your guitar playing adds anything to these songs. It's because you don't know what to do with your hands when all you have to do is sing.
Right. Because otherwise you're just doing opera stuff the whole time.
But you know, the piano thing is interesting because, you know, I think back in like in the, I guess the 50s, you have your Jerry Lee Lewises and your Little Richards, and in the 60s you have those guys, and then in the late 60s, 70s, you have Elton John, and in the 80s, you have your William Joel. In the 90s, you had this
Joel.
In the 90s, you had this. You had like Vanessa Carlton for a second, I guess. Like,
well, piano is like the way like Western music is written around the piano.
But it's like it's there, but like you don't have like. I feel like your piano frontman like.
Right, it's harder.
Is the piano solo dead? I want to know if the piano solo is dead.
The synth solo is alive and well.
The synth solo is alive and very well, but I don't know who any of those synth players are.
My whole point is just like there's so many micro genres now that if you want to listen to nothing but solos all day, you can find it. If you want to listen to music that doesn't have any guitar in it at all, you can find it.
John Mayer put out a single like 2 years ago where he's wearing sweatpants for the entire thing and playing a freaking guitar solo in the song. Like, they exist.
If you are waiting for pop music to represent your specific taste, you're going to be waiting a long time no matter what you like, because that's not the way it works. Like, I'd love it if like, you know, some vocalist podcast a few years from now is like, oh no, are vocals dead? Oh no, people don't want to hear singing in songs anymore. I'd love that if there was a popular music shift towards instrumental tracks. I'm not even talking about solo and like gymnastics and music. I'm talking about like just fun pop instrumentals with melodies.
Do you remember? So
we almost had that with dubstep.
We've talked about like Pentatonics before, right? Do you know who Pentatonics is?
Vaguely.
They're a cappella.
Right.
They were very big for a hot second, and now they're big for about a week every winter for their Christmas music. But I'm just like imagining the world where, and I remember there used to be for like a year or two, there were all of these like a cappella competitions on TV. You had like the Singing Bee and, you know, whatever, these different a cappella shows. You had the movie Pitch Perfect. You had Glee. Well, Glee sometimes had instrumentation. Glee usually had instrumentation. Pitch Perfect, all a cappella. Right. Is music dead? Are we just singing now?
We're all worried about like, oh no, his guitar solo's dead. The clarinet players are out there are like, oh man, is it ever going to be alive again? No one cares about clarinet anymore.
I can't name a clarinet. Is Dizzy Gillespie? Did he play clarinet? No. Benny Goodman? Is he clarinet?
He might have been clarinet. I can't remember.
One of those guys back then.
I listened to jazz radio, if you believe it or not, while I'm driving around my car. And the other day I was listening to a song on jazz radio that had pure clarinet on it. Yeah, I was like, clarinet is a hot instrument and it deserves more respect.
I used to know which of the jazz band frontmen were trumpeters and clarinets and whatever, but that was when I was like in high school and listening to a lot of ska and ska adjacent music.
I'm going to say I'd rather listen to clarinet than saxophone. I said it. I said it.
Edgy choice.
Don't at me. Don't at me.
That's a hot take, Ryan. Very hot. So hot right now.
Oh man, what do we do now? An ad?
I think we need to write a guitar solo.
I'll say that most of the time at church they mix me for guitar solos. Solo, no one can hear me. Get it? Get it?
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
All right, this first ad. What did we pick? Bro, the Nightmare on the Elm Tree by
Nightmare on Elm Tree,
sent to us by Michael Estep Jr. This is an SG style guitar. Is it going to load for me?
This fine piece of elm was harvested from the mountains of southern Saskatchewan. It's entwined with a cherry neck and zebra wood fretboard. It's entwined? I don't think it's really entwined. It looks like it's just mounted. Though the majestic bastard is one of a kind, many of his fallen brothers and sisters await a similar fate in the stocking shelves of the Happy Teardrops Custom Guitar Workshop. Contact us today to get started. Oh, that's why it's listed as $0.
Right.
Not because the Canadian dollar is worthless, but because this is just trying to get people to look at this. So this person basically builds live wood SGs.
Right. It's got a fun look. And I think the SG thing kind of works with it. Because
I guess maybe it is kind of entwined because it's like a set neck, but it's a kind of a funky.
It looks like it's being birthed out of a tree, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have this fun, like pointy, smooth shape coming out of this really like knotted and gritty, barky. There's even a little bit of a twig sticking out there, piece of live edge wood.
Yeah.
It's a really fun concept.
Would you church this?
Oh yeah, I'd church it. There's little angles here and there that make me go, "Oh man, this is kind of like a home project," or like a college woodworking class project. Like, look at the way the edge of that flare is on the headstock. Like, it just feels like that.
Right.
That line is kind of sloppy. Oh, it's missing the nut around the tuners too.
I like the truss rod.
Yeah,
No, it's not missing the nut. That's just a different style.
Oh, is it a different style?
Of tuner? Yeah.
No, it's missing some hardware. That needs to have a finishing nut on there.
It looks better when it has a finishing nut, but
It doesn't need it.
If you ever pull like an old like Harmony or whatever, they don't have finishing nuts. They just have the little collet like that.
There's just a couple little details that give that college or even high school woodshop thing. Like look at the edge of the wood here by the pickup. You know, it's not a professional clean luthier job, you know, but I think it's fun. That neck joint is weird too. On the back.
This neck is throwing me off because there are elements of it that just make me think that this is just a pure aftermarket neck. But then I can't imagine buying a aftermarket neck with a zebra fretboard.
I think they made it.
I do. I just keep looking at this truss rod cover. I like the truss rod cover.
It's fun. It's a truss rod cover that it terminates with a maple leaf on it. Very Canadian. What's that all about, huh? But even you can tell, like in the shine of the clear coat, like this thing wasn't polished to a professional, smooth shine. Which it's a live edge piece of wood.
It's a little thick,
but it's fun. I would play this. I wouldn't buy it, but I'd play it if it was handed to me. You know, and I bet it's fairly comfortable too. I mean, finally an SG that's not neck heavy. This thing is definitely butt heavy because it's got a big old chunk of wood hanging off the butt end.
But it's missing half the body.
Well, it's missing the armrest area, but it's longer in body than a normal SG. Look, they even make the control cavity a lot longer than normal.
Yeah, I know.
It kind of just looks like a melted SG.
I like the shape of it. I don't know how. I don't know that I would want to own it, but. This is definitely in the.
It's gonna get attention.
This is in the. Did you say this already? This is in. Oh yeah, you did. You said this is like college wood project.
Right.
This is Delmar Fair guitar.
Exactly.
But it's cool.
County Fair.
I like the idea. County Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it utilizing live edging like that.
Yeah, it would be fun to find a piece of live edge wood that already follows somewhat of a traditional guitar shape and just, milk that happenstance to be like, wow, it already had like the top edge of like a Telecaster thing going on because it was in between two branches or whatever. And then the bottom is just going to be a clean cut. Like that would be fun. Being on the lookout for that perfect piece of wood that already has, like 20% of the guitar's shape built into it,
Right. Well, along those lines, I mean, instead of shaping this into an SG, you could have taken this and done maybe more of like
it kind of looks like it wanted to be a foot. Like a foot shape.
I was thinking it kind of looks like it wants to be like an Explorer.
No, because it doesn't have. I mean, yes, maybe if you flipped it over,
Yeah.
you'd have to flip it. I kind of wish it didn't have EMGs either.
Are they EMGs or are they just?
It's some sort of black covered pickup.
It just looks like EMGs.
Yeah, it's probably not actually EMGs, but you know me, I always like contrast.
Yeah.
Like a white open coil humbucker would look cool. Also, I think this would have been a good guitar for a single pickup, and like you don't need the 4-knob layout on this. You don't even need a pickup selector. Just let the material be itself and put a single, like maybe just a single white P90 in it.
I think that is something that also looks kind of weird and very out of place on here. Is even if you do want to go with the 4-knob layout, the rhythm treble part of it. I mean, usually I feel like in this case, it's probably there because of some kind of issue with drilling the hole for that. But you know, if this could have been pulled off without that, I think it would have looked better.
Here's another detail that makes me see that this is not a pro build. Look at the action on that high E string. Go the other way. There it is. It is floating above that fretboard.
Maybe it's just set up for slack.
It's a concept piece. This is a wall hanger for your country cabin, for your rock and roll country cabin. But I think there's things I would definitely do different here. I think you want to go simple as you can with something like this where you're trying to show off the material. So I think a wraparound bridge, lose the stop tail, just a simple wraparound, single P90, like dog ear, surface mounted dog ear P90, single knob, maybe 2 knobs. That's all you need. You don't need a switch. I
like just volume knob only. I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of see, I definitely see what you're saying. Like you're saying, you know, if you're going to do this, I wouldn't even say if you're going to do a fancy wood, this is like beyond fancy wood. This is, if you're going to do something where the wood is really
the star of the show,
why cover it up with all this hardware?
Yeah. It's crowding it is the problem.
Yeah.
It's really crowded by every extra piece that you put on here.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's a cool look. I think it's a cool concept, and I'm glad that whoever made it. Sponsorship?
Yes.
This episode is brought to you by Big Ear Pedals, makers of the Albee, among other things. We're big fans of the L Reverb over here. A really fun kind of like modern, lightly modulated reverb. Then you've got all sorts of crazy modulated reverbs and delays and choruses and all sorts of over-the-top stuff with the Albee, which is a curated multi-effect pedal. Don't know what that means? Go look it up, you dingus. Go watch a video or two. Educate yourself. They've also got the Alf. Why can't I talk?
The Loaf?
The Loaf.
The Alf.
Oh my God. I was combining Albee with Loaf.
The Alf, the alien life form pedal.
This is our 3rd episode recording tonight. I'm a little fried. They've got the Loaf, which I think stands for low AF. Apparently, loafing is a thing that bunny rabbits do, and it's super duper cute.
Got the woodcutter.
The woodcutter, which is an awesome version of a rat pedal. You want to check that out? They've got a bunch of cool pedals.
Got a bunch of stuff. Go check them out. BigEarPedals.com. Thanks, Grant and Karen, for continuing to support us.
Yeah, putting up with this nonsense week in and week out.
You got anything new, man?
Geez. Do I have anything new?
Looking around.
I've got a box of Dolomio pedals that I need to cover eventually.
Ooh, that's cool.
I don't know. I don't know at all. After this episode, the week after this episode, we're going to pick the winner of that Fender guitar. Yeah. Fender accidentally sent me a second Am Pro 2.
Yep.
And we're giving it away. So go find the video for that to get all the details. So I'm excited to get that shipped out to you.
You don't want to actually just say what the details are? It's like, go find it.
Go find it. Do your own homework. Don't make me do it for you. You have anything new?
Yeah, it's unrelated to the show, or is it?
Oh, here we go.
I watched Dread for the first time.
Oh, really?
I know you enjoy that movie.
I think that's a good Dread.
I don't remember the first. I vaguely remember the first one, and I remember it being kind of like.
I don't think you can consider it to be a first one, second one situation. It's not a sequel.
No, I know. I'm saying like the first time they did it.
Yeah, you're talking about the Sylvester. You're talking about the first one being the Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
and what's his name from?
And the thing that I think I really thought was different about
Rob Schneider.
Is Rob Schneider in that?
Yeah, no, Rob Schneider is in the Sylvester Stallone one.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Demolition Man? Wasn't he in Demolition Man?
I am talking about
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone. Rob Schneider is in it.
I thought he was just in Demolition Man.
No, he's in it.
Oh my God. All right. Well, anyway.
And it's as terrible as it sounds. There were some moments in the Sylvester Stallone one which was fun, but okay, on to Dredd.
So the thing that I was thinking about, like, what is special about this movie as I was watching it, which is a weird thing, I think, to think maybe about a 9-year-old movie. And
it's beautiful. It's violent. It's gritty. It's got good sci-fi elements going on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to like there.
One of the things that I thought was interesting about that movie is it's kind of a day in the life, which I think is a thing that doesn't happen a lot in action movies.
It feels very real time.
When you have it, I mean, I guess like some of the really great action sci-fi kind of movies do that, where like I think about a movie like Predator. What was the purpose? Why? I don't even remember. Why was the Predator on Earth?
To hunt.
Just to hunt, like just hanging out. Like, but we don't know, like, was the Predator just going to kill all the people in this area and then leave? Like, is this a localized event?
Predator exists to hunt the galaxy's best hunters. He's out there to prove himself against the galaxy's best warriors. They visit various planets and they go like, there's a warrior. I want to face off against that guy.
So that Predator was just there to bait Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is that Dutch? Is that the character where his name is Dutch? I forget.
I forget his character name. But, he showed up because he's like, oh, look at all these mercenaries here in the jungle. These are Earth's top warriors right now. I'm going to skin them and harvest their spinal columns.
Didn't they go there because of something else, though? I don't.
They were fighting a war.
All right. Anyway, doesn't matter that I don't remember. I guess there's more of a plot there than I thought. Where I was going with Dredd is what I mean by the plot is hyperlocal. Is like the plot is incidental,
right? Like
there's no arch. Like okay, there's
no problem to solve for Dredd.
Right. The movie I would compare it to as like not doing this is like RoboCop.
Right.
RoboCop. There is a grand conspiracy that drives the whole thing, and it even to the extent that like RoboCop has this secret code written into him. Spoilers that no one is supposed to know about, especially not RoboCop, that he can't harm an OCP employee. Right. That's like a big thing that you learn in the course of this movie.
I mean, it's your whole rules of robotics sort of storyline.
But in Dredd, like you do find out eventually in Dredd that the bad guys have this plan to make a lot of money by spreading this drug all over the city. But up until that point, which is like 2/3 of the way through the movie, this is just like a random thing.
It's almost an episode of Cops.
It's exactly no. That's exactly what I mean. It's like
hey, we're gonna go check this out. We got a report.
Is the whole point of this movie is that this one person exists who thinks that he can help the city out by being the best version of himself he can be, and that's all he has going for him. That's Dredd. That's all he has going for him.
One way to look at Dredd.
Dredd can just be all he knows that all he can do is be the best Dredd that he can be, and maybe
it's inspiring. Really,
one day at a time he can but he's not sitting there going like, give me the biggest, baddest gangster. That's who I want. He's just doing his job.
Right.
He's like, just being the best version of himself.
Got to get in there, do the gritty thing.
Yeah.
Do the job. He's a very much like, let's do the job guy.
Yeah. And I'm sure people are going to jump in the comments and be like, what about this movie? And what about this movie? And whatever. This is a movie I watched.
Well, there's a whole case to make a big social commentary behind the original source material of Dredd, the comic book and stuff like that, and how it's a reflection on, police brutality and fascism and government overreach and stuff like that. But it makes a pretty fun action movie too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Dredd, I think it definitely has a. Well, I read a little bit of the backstory, and it's definitely entrenched in that Starship Troopers universe of like you're rooting for the troopers, but also they're Nazis.
Right. No, like the character of Judge Dredd, as far as the comics go, is not supposed to be an ideal situation.
Right.
This is supposed to be like, wow, this is kind of scary. Imagine if cops were actually like this, judge, jury, and executioner on the street. Mm-hmm. I mean, clearly he lives in a reality where the world's pretty messed up. Mm-hmm.
He lives in Mega City 1.
Right. It is still like a social commentary aimed at, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway,
by way of hyper violence and really crazy cartoon illustration. Yeah. So there's that.
The slow-mo effects were really cool.
Oh man, like I said, beautiful movie. Yeah. Really fun to watch. Really great watch and wonderful acting in it across the board.
Oh, have you been watching? This is just going to turn into a pop culture episode. Fine. Have you been watching Falcon?
Yeah, I'm kind of bored by it.
I think I'm an episode behind now.
I'm sure. I'm 2 episodes in.
Are there only 2 episodes?
I think so. Because I've come out every Friday.
I've seen 2 episodes. I thought there was a third one that I missed, but maybe
now you know how far in the future we recorded this episode.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's not as good. I feel like it's for movie fans.
There's 3 shows I've been hot on lately. And it's all very sci-fi like. Mm-hmm. Invincible is on Amazon.
Is that the cartoon?
It's a cartoon, but it's very fun, very adult.
The animation style reminds me of One Punch Man, but
yeah. Well, there's,
but I don't know if it's in the.
If you like One Punch Man, you're probably gonna enjoy it.
Okay.
Resident Alien, very funny. A lot of fun.
That's on. Is that an HBO show? Is that one you have to
no,
download?
that's sci-fi.
Also don't.
I have been pirating it.
Okay.
And Solar Opposites on Hulu, which is a Rick and Morty joint.
Oh yeah. I've seen the trailer for that.
So a lot of adult cartoony sci-fi stuff is what I've been into
even
lately.
Resident Alien's kind of goofy.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
It has some really great moments in it, but it's also a very Sci-Fi Channel sort of concept, like an alien is a doctor living in a human town and no one can know,
right?
Sort of thing.
I've been working through Enterprise for the first time.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
I actually don't think it's awful.
I tried to watch a few episodes a week or 2 back, and I was like, oh gosh, this show's so dismal.
There are aspects of it. I keep sending the same message and no one will bite. Malcolm Reed sucks.
Which one is Malcolm Reed?
The armory officer.
Yeah, he sucks.
He's just like such a downer. Like literally there's one episode where like he's being a dick, but you're like, oh, I guess they're all infected with this thing, so that's why they're all being dicks. But now it's like 2 episodes later and he's being a dick again, and you're like, what's your problem, man? Like,
I don't like that. There's the whole like season or 2 that is all around the Xindi.
I'm not that far yet.
I hate it.
You ruined it for me.
I hate those damn Xindi aliens. Like,
yeah, I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll hate that part, but so far they're just flying around doing things you do when you fly around. We're still like, I guess I think
the first season is probably more fun than what I'm jumped into.
Yeah, I'm like halfway. I'm like a quarter of the way through the 2nd season, so we just wrapped up the Suliban arc,
right?
Which was tolerable at times,
What's next for this guitar podcast right now? What are we going to talk about next?
Next up, we got an ad sent to us by Mark DeBruyne. This is an Egmond guitar.
He actually sent a bunch of guitars, and this is the one I picked out of them. I played an Egmond. At Winter NAMM.
Made in Holland.
Yep. This is the one. Well, this is the brand where the pickguard and the pickups are the same thing. They're fused together.
What?
And it's made out of like plastic that feels like a milk carton. Like it's super lightweight plastic. What? And I'm honestly surprised to see these things when they've survived.
Where did you play? How did you play this at NAMM?
At the Reverb booth at NAMM. They had this whole like funky guitars of the 60s display. It wasn't this exact guitar, but it was this brand. The tuners on this.
I don't.
Is that intentional or was
no?
I think a new set was swapped in and they couldn't find a set that was compatible with this guitar. And so they fudged in.
I'm looking at this. This was originally a 6-in-line ping set, and they didn't have the right tuners.
No, this is like a 3x3 set that they put on a 6-in-line headstock.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The original tuners on this would have been like a 6-in-line, like you would have on any Teisco.
Right.
Like that style where it's just one strip.
Oh yeah, totally. And they cut it up or something like that.
So this was like a 3x3 that looks like it was maybe cut up.
But like 3 of the tuners are pointing north, 3 of the tuners are pointing south. Yeah, and it's actually kind of fun. It's actually kind of fun in a weird way. It would be super infuriating when you're trying to tune. It's like, oh, now I've got to change my hand angle for the back 3 strings.
So this is an Egmond Scout. They're asking, I don't know if this is, I guess this is a bidding site, like some kind of eBay type of a thing. And this is currently at 50 euros, which is about $75, I want to say, maybe $100.
I'm going to say, based on the playability of the one that I tried at NAMM, all that money is in the vintage cool. It has nothing to do with the playability because they are a challenge.
Did you plug that one in?
I did. They are a challenge. They're very unique feeling. It's one of those situations where like you can tell that rock and roll was blowing up and there wasn't a way to get these exciting electrified rock and roll machines into various countries. And so people who were just seeing pictures and catalogs were trying to make electric guitars.
Right.
And so it feels like it's pretty improvised, the way it's built.
But like 1968 Holland, they should have been able to. Anyway. I mean, I guess that's kind of like the weird, like Wandre. Wandre made really good guitars, kind of in that vein.
But it's also one of those things that's like, I remember it being so close. Like, these pickups sound interesting.
Right.
I can play this guitar when I really focus about it. It's not like Holland had to reinvent the concept of a guitar. They just didn't know this company didn't know how to interpret the qualities of an electric guitar. So they could still make a fretted instrument. Like, just so much around that base concept of a fretted instrument is wonky.
Yeah, this is like a slab piece of pot metal for the tailpiece.
Oh yeah,
and a wooden arch top style bridge. And I
gotta say, I kind of like the shape of it. Like, it's not ugly. I like the shape of the pickguard too.
So what I'm hearing is Eastwood should reuse this.
This is a case where Eastwood would definitely come out with a guitar that plays much better than the original. But this style, this look.
I think Eastwood usually comes out with guitars that are
probably true.
Much better playing than the original. You threw that out there like, well, maybe.
Well, I think there's certain things, just like when they came out with a copy of like the Ovation Breadwinner, it's like, I'm betting the Breadwinner plays like a Breadwinner, and the Eastwood copy plays like a standard guitar that happens to be that shape,
Sure.
Because the hardware and the build style is so different.
But I'm saying like all of your airlines probably play much better than your average surviving airline.
There's people who are big airline fans out there, and they're not. Airlines were not on this level of totally funky import sorts of things.
No,
but there's certainly plenty of brands that Eastwood cover that they have improved upon the playability of the originals. But I think there's a couple where it's like, I don't think this is probably going to hold up to the original. Like there's that, they do like a copy of the Most Right black guitar, that double cut black guitar. Steve is texting. He's calling an Uber to get him out of here.
No. No, my wife was asking me about vaccines. But I just need to make sure it wasn't an emergency.
And you replied, "No, honey, I don't believe in them."
Yeah.
I told you I'm a scientist. I know how these things work behind the scenes. It's all just metal zone. I already have a metal zone. I don't need a vaccine.
I don't have a metal zone.
I'll lend one to you.
My DS1's
That's why I haven't caught
my DS1's
COVID
over here. Because you already have a metal zone.
Yeah. DS1 prevents smallpox.
Oh my god.
That's why we don't need metal zones anymore. It's already been cured. I mean, DS1s anymore. So yeah, for the money, like they said $75 or whatever.
Well, it's 50 euros. I think that's in the $75 to $100 range.
It'll probably go, if it's an auction site, it'll probably go for more than that. But I honestly think these are curiosities. These are history pieces for the Europeans that had them around as young people in the 60s and whatnot. It's certainly not a guitar that's worth chasing for its playability, is what I'm going to say. But man, it looks cool. I really dig the angles here. It's got kind of a gentler, a more delicate sort of Jaguar shape going on with those horns that I appreciate.
I was trying to see if I could find this listing, but Wi-Fi died. So
yeah, I'm having trouble with internet today. I wonder what's going on. What's next? Let's
do another ad for. Let's do another sponsor spot for Chase Bliss Audio. They make pedals more creative than you are with a digital brain and an analog heart. They make such fine products as.
Grab one over there, Steve.
Let's see. What do I got? We've been talking about Bliss factories because that was the most recent hot thing. But let's talk about some things that actually exist, like the Thermae.
That aren't figments of our imagination.
The Dark World.
And the blooper. I want to talk about the Dark World for a second.
Let's talk about the Dark World.
I have a setting that I leave on here all the time, which is super fun. It's a shimmer reverb that I have dialed in that kind of is stacked with like a rich plate reverb. And I have it set up so that the shimmer oscillates. They call it bounce in Chase Bliss world. It bounces and oscillates between a low octave and a high octave. And it does it slowly. I'm not going really fast. It's like low octave.
Right.
Blending in to high octave and then back. And it's just subtle enough, but extreme enough that it feels like the parts that I'm playing are pulsing through different layers and voicings of shim reverb. Shim reverb can often start to get taxing on you and just be like, wow, it's just the same octave that's just like, but finding that setting on here, like it feels so much more natural. It feels more magical. It's a really powerful sound. And I think it's become my go-to for this. Like it's a two-sided reverb, kind of traditional sounds on the right side, more experimental sounds on the left. And I just mix them together. Like I use that sound together.
You know, we always say that they make pedals more creative than you are, but it sounds like this pedal was just as creative as you needed it to be.
Well, I think I was able to express some creativity that found a very small amount of the possibilities that any Chase Bliss pedal can offer. And man, you know, I have my story about what I like to do with this. But every other person out there probably has their own specific thing that they've put together. It's like, wow, this is my sound in this pedal. I think you can find that across the whole Chase Bliss line because they make pedals more creative than you are. They're just so packed full of options and settings and things that can happen. It's totally bonkers. They are your own pedal. Like Chase Bliss makes them, but you discover the sound that you need in them, and you can't get that sound from other pedals. It's just the truth of it.
Go buy one. ChaseBlissAudio.com.
I think that's the best pitch I've ever made for Chase Bliss, and I actually feel like really excited right now talking about it.
That's why you should stop talking and let it stand.
Right.
All right. This topic was sent by Emily Harris, probably.
Well, I'm going to call it a prompt. It doesn't have to be the full topic. She said the comments on the Reverb video about the women pedal builders. So they did a little teaser about the Reverb pedal movie that's coming out. And it's kind of like an extra content sort of thing that highlights female builders in the industry.
Yes.
And I thought it was really fun. Emily wants us to talk about all the hater comments. By the time I jumped on the video, it had been scrubbed.
I think there was definitely some scrubbing happening, and that doesn't surprise me because right now there are 396 thumbs up and 104 thumbs down. So that's like 20% thumbs. That's actually almost.
That's a little
bit more than 20% thumbs down.
For the crappy content that I make, I usually am in the high 90% of thumbs up.
The lowest ratio, or the lowest rate that I've seen on one of our videos is probably like 85, like an 85-15 split.
Check on the No Such Thing as Left-Handed Guitars video. That's one that's very controversial. Where was I going with this? I believe people were making awful, crappy comments about female builders or complaining that Reverb...
Okay, yeah, this one's about almost... This one's
50,
like 60-40,
okay.
55-45. That one's pretty brutal.
It's pretty brutal. It's little backstage, guys. As far as YouTube videos go, it's actually better to have a controversial video.
Even your part 2 is like 30% thumbs down.
It's, it doesn't, dislikes count to the Reverb algorithm, to the YouTube algorithm. I'm all mixed up now. Dislikes count the same as likes count on videos for YouTube, thinking that it's interesting. It's just a single count. They're like, there have been this many interactions. So when you get a controversial video and there's people trying to battle each other over the likes, it's actually a lot better. And I wish I had more of that going on.
But in the case of this Reverb video, I did see some of the comments, and there were some people in there who refused to, who are leaving comments basically saying the fact that you made a video with women who are pedal builders professionally, or that own companies, who own pedal companies or are the primary operators of these pedal companies, disproves your thesis.
Like, imagine coming up with that idea and that's your idea.
like literally they're sitting here going like, well, you say, why are there so few women? Where, this video is called "Where Are All the Women in the Pedal Industry?" And you've got all these women, so clearly they're there. And it's already discounting the fact that all of these women, some, they have some women in this video who are builders or, again, owners. Julie's in it from Earthquaker.
Oh yeah.
That comes to mind because we know her and we've worked with her before. And suddenly I'm blanking on all of the other ones, which is horrible. Fran from Frantone is in there.
This is where we find out how few women builders Steve actually knows.
I forget her name from Low Pedals is in there. One of the partners in Alchemy Audio is a woman, is in there.
I was a little sad that I forget her name, which makes me seem awful. The woman from Rabbit Hole Effects, Sophia. Thank goodness you could remember that. She didn't make an appearance in there. She visited me here in the garage before Winter NAMM like 2 years ago, something like that. She makes wonderful pedals.
And that doesn't, so that's a different comment too. Some people were like, well, you released this as an extra, so that means this is everything you cut out of the movie. So there's nothing left. And it's like, you've never watched like the deleted scenes. Like if you see a deleted scene in a movie and Matt Damon is in that deleted scene, that doesn't mean that Matt Damon's not in the rest of the movie. It just means there are deleted scenes that contain Matt Damon. And like, and
also they're trying to get you excited to watch this thing. Think of it as a trailer. Even if none of that content is in there, they're saying there's going to be content like this in here.
Yeah. And the reality is that this is, like you said, like this is a hot topic. This is a video that came out yesterday and has 5,500 views. It's not as big as their April Fool's video today, which means that people would rather watch
a
jokes than something serious, which is kind of a sad state of things, but I guess I kind of get it. I can't get these comments to load. But yeah, going back to the idea, I literally, one of the comments in there that like just blew my mind, how, maybe it's naivete, but somebody wrote
That's a fancy way to say
that.
that.
I know, maybe ignorance.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody said
naivete.
I don't remember. Again, I actually listened to this video while I was on a run. So I did it like in podcast form, which is also why I don't remember a lot of the names. But there was a comment in there where they said, in the video, one of the women says, every woman has had the shared Guitar Center experience, the shared bad Guitar Center experience. And she puts it out there like, you know what I mean.
Right.
And somebody in the comments was like, what, you don't think men have bad experiences at Guitar Center? Guitar Center sucks.
Yeah, we have all had bad experiences at Guitar Center, but she's talking about a more specific experience than that.
So when a woman
that's legit stupid.
When a woman says like, we've all had that guitar, and the thing is it's a funny comment to me because I feel like this story
I want to cry. That's so stupid.
Is obvious now, right? But you know, it's this the classic story that I've heard again from either I've heard it from the same woman multiple times or I've heard it from multiple women, is going to Guitar Center with their non-musician husband to look for a guitar, and the husband's just there to like hang out because he's got nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon.
And the salesperson is talking to the husband.
And the salesperson just wants to talk to the husband about the guitars. And the husband's like,
I don't know.
Like she's the one who's playing.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
and there's also the experience where it's like you get ignored and you're like trying to do the help me sort of look at the salespeople, but they're probably just looking at you like, oh, that's just someone's girlfriend.
Yeah, or you're like, oh, can you tell me about what's a cool Fender guitar right now? And they're like, well, I don't know, what kind of music is your boyfriend into? It's like, no, idiot, I'm buying this guitar for me.
But Steve and I don't know if you know this, Steve and I are not women.
Yeah,
we're men.
We don't have this experience.
We haven't had those experiences ourselves. It doesn't happen to us. I've had bad experiences at Guitar Center. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
But we've listened to enough women who have to know that it happens, because guess what? We talk to women.
I've never gone to Guitar Center with my wife and had the salesperson not talk to me and only want to talk to my wife about electric guitars or whatever.
That reminds me of the funny thing that a friend of the show, Aaron Abubo from the Gearsome podcast, go give him a listen. He likes to do whenever there's someone on Facebook that has a dual account. It's like a husband-wife account.
Right.
He always talks to them assuming it's the wife on the gear groups. And he intentionally does that, and it's always fun because he always just calls them like, oh, hey, Sharon. when it's like the Facebook account is like Sharon and Danny or something like that.
There were other things in there that like people just, any industry is hard. I think when you're new in the industry, regardless of your gender.
Oh yeah.
I think when you are the new person, I think, you know, we talk about this and we've done this, and this isn't to like,
and also like,
this isn't to like pull our own chain. Yo, go ahead.
I want to say really quick. The Reverb video didn't feel like a hit piece.
No,
it was like, here's women in the industry. And they were like, you know, it's not always great to be a woman musician, especially guitarist. And then the rest of it is like, oh, here's these people, you know?
Yeah, it's actually funny. It's the opening in that is, and it's such a different, it's almost like the way, you know, you project what you want to be in your dreams. The opening part is something to the effect of they're interviewing Jamie Stillman and Julie Robbins from Earthquaker at the beginning. And I forget specifically what the question is, but Julie's answer is, is Beyonce. Like I don't know if it's I want to be Beyonce or I want to like sell pedals to Beyonce or whatever,
Right.
but the answer is Beyonce. And Jamie's like, man, that's way better than mine. My answer was Josh Scott. And it just had something to do with like, who are the people like in the industry that you want to be, kind of a thing. I think it was something like that. Again, I don't remember specifically, but it's, I think those perspectives are important. And I think, like you said, it's not a hit piece. It's just saying like, hey, this is a tough industry and it's tougher if you're a woman for these reasons. And literally what I was saying is like the first NAMM we went to, I think if we would have, I think going to something like NAMM, especially as like when you have nothing to sell,
Right.
When you're just there, I mean, I guess we
Or even buy.
Yeah, I guess we were kind of like marketing people and whatever, but like it's your
The first couple of years of NAMM, we were the epitome of worthless influencers.
Yeah, and
we were doing nothing for anyone.
And we were sure. I always say like we were Sherpa'd. Like,
oh, totally.
We knew someone who knew people, who was Daniel, and that helped us along. And if we didn't have that, I think we would have just gone there and wandered and gotten way less out of it.
No, sincerely, like if we didn't have people like Daniel and other people that kind of like pulled us in, we probably would have just flubbed out of this eventually. I think being pulled into the scene and pulled into the community was immensely helpful to us. Now imagine you're starting to do something like this, and when you walk into a place like NAMM, because of your gender, people assume you're there with your boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I was going with this, is we had someone helping us, but I can't imagine going there and not having help. And then I can't imagine even that second layer of going there, not having someone already showing you around, and also being a person that like where you have to feel like you need to be extra assertive.
It's one of those things like women have to work harder for this stuff because they have to prove everything in every interaction.
Yeah, and someone's going to say like, well, men have to work hard too. And I mean,
they absolutely do. Men, the vast majority of men in the world are busting their asses to make it, and no one's not saying that. But there's an extra layer, there's an extra complication there that I think a lot of people don't think about enough. You know?
I think there is, and this, I'm going to use some phrasing here that maybe is probably not the best, but I think depending on your mentality, it's always harder walking into a situation when the general group that you're walking into is likely to see you as a novelty.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a white guy, maybe that's trying to go play a pickup basketball game. Like, and if you're a woman, it's going to Guitar Center, and I don't say that to trivialize. It's like, imagine a situation where you want to enjoy something, but you recognize that it's outside of a stereotypical element for you.
I also want to say on a more positive note, not to sound
maybe
like,
you're Eminem and you only have one chance,
not to be a
one shot,
fully preachy, in the social justice direction that is making some people very uncomfortable right now. And they've probably already tuned out. Okay, it's just the rest of us now, so it's okay. The industry has a lot of women. Like the Reverb piece focused on builders, which is great, which is the focus of that. But there's all sorts of people that Steve and I work with on a regular basis that are women in this industry doing the real money job behind the scenes, like actually making this stuff work. People that are near and dear to our hearts at this point, and we only work with them through emails and stuff like that.
And I can, along those lines, I would say, both of them have moved on from not
both of them, two of them. There's a lot more than
I'm
both.
saying the two people that I was going to name.
Right.
The person who was our primary contact at Sweetwater, and the person who was our primary contact at Band Lab, which is mono, harmony, whatever, were both women. If we would have gone to NAMM and gone to the harmony booth and been like, that's nice, is there a man that I can speak to?
I don't want to talk to the booth girl.
Yeah.
That was so awful.
That would have been Big mistake. Huge.
Big mistake.
You work on commissions, right? Oh, actually, we do.
Oh gosh, you think that happens?
I bet it does.
I bet there's people in our industry that have gotten screwed out of working with companies because they walk up and they don't realize the owner is not a booth girl.
I guarantee you it does. And the reason I'll say
that makes my heart palpitate.
I guarantee you this does. And the reason I'll say this, just being like 100% transparent, it took me like a NAM and a half to understand what the dynamic was at Earthquaker. And this was when Earthquaker was a lot smaller, and I'd seen Jamie in forums and stuff. And so, I think my approach is, well, Jamie he's the design guy. He's the guy who's thinking up pedal designs. Mm-hmm. And it took me, a couple times around to realize like, he's the chaotic energy, and Julie is the one who's really, pulling the strings.
Right.
She's the one who's in control.
No, she is the business.
Yeah. And that's the reality of it. And so,
the first pedals that I got,
we got from Julie.
By way of Daniel. Because
he knew.
No, he was like, I'm going to go see if I can get some product thrown your way. And then he comes back and he's like, hey, I talked to Julie. And in that moment, the way he's talking about her, I was like, oh, she's the one to talk to at this company.
Right.
Like she is a person of importance. I didn't even have a beat on like who runs what companies at that point.
Right.
This is our first year in NAMM. I had no idea. And like immediately got the impression, oh, she's in charge of stuff. Like that is the person, Julie. That was my first person introduction to Earthquaker.
Right. Right. And I think more and more you see that in different ways, and you see that in ways that are like, you might not even realize, a company like Fuzzrocious, like, though I think at least the last NAMM, I didn't see Shannon there.
Yeah. I understand she's mostly gone back to work outside of Fuzzrocious,
but she was at a few NAMMs.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because there's a woman in the booth, you don't know what her role is in the company.
Right.
Just be normal. Like treat everybody treat everybody with we're being kind of NAMM specific because that's where everyone kind of gets together.
Treat everyone like you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like you don't
make assumptions about anyone.
You don't know what this person's role is. If a company happens, their A&R rep is a woman and you piss them off, guess what? You're fucked with that company now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like
that's what we were coming back to. We went on some big circles here, Steve.
That's okay.
We're having fun. We're talking. That's what we do. We're friends that we talk about guitar stuff.
We're talking about this video. And just, again, the idea of like, people wanted to go out of their way and say, oh, this video is political and this video is whatever. I'm like, this is just people sharing their stories. Like, if you think, it's one thing, I think, to say, well, this is something where a person is repeating somebody else's experience. Don't take my word for it that women have it bad in this industry, or that women have had struggles in this industry. But because I'm a dude, I haven't had those experiences. But when you watch the video, and literally every woman who they've interviewed is like, yeah, these are issues I've run into either as a musician or as a builder, or these are things that I have felt that made me uncomfortable. Like, they're just taking at face value that this person isn't actively trying to manipulate you.
Right.
Like, just
listen to people. Assume you don't know anything about every new person that you encounter. You don't know anything about them. And then listen to them to find things out. Like, that's, hello. Welcome to being a human being. Yeah. That's how you need to interact with people.
And I think that's the struggle with a lot of times with YouTube is we watch videos and we always assume that there's some agenda. And does Reverb have an agenda from releasing this video? Absolutely.
100%. They are selling it on iTunes. They want you to buy the movie to watch it. That
agenda is, hey, we're making a documentary. Here's a sneak peek for you to watch because we want you to be hyped about it. It's not any different than if we talked about freaking Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know why that movie exists? Because Disney wants you to get hyped about Phase 4.
Disney wants
that TV show.
They only make all that stuff you love just because they want to make money.
Yeah.
They if you know what, if they didn't do it for the money, they wouldn't have made any of the Star Warses. I'm talking about the original Star Warses. Is that how you pronounce it, Star Warses?
Hey, here's $5. Go get yourself a Star War. National treasure. Oh yeah. Hey, way to keep the show.
We're doing 2 long episodes tonight.
Yeah, housekeeping. If you want to support the show on these barely coherent ramblings, head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast, where for as little as $1 a month or $11 a year, you can support this program. The money that comes in, a little bit of it goes into our pockets. We compensate ourselves below minimum wage for the time it takes to record the podcast, and the rest of it goes into all this stuff you see back here, a Fortaboard series, just a lot of content that the show.
So many production tools, lights, cameras, action, all that stuff.
If we
travel costs, food costs. Things like that.
If the run of 50/50s ever happens again,
it's all waiting on me. I have to make the art.
Okay. Well, the thing is at least in the past, and I would assume it's not changing. We have fronted so a lot of those costs from Inner Circle,
and then we have to recoup it back by selling.
Not the Inner Circle, but through the Patreon funding. Yeah. So if you want a 50/50 someday, no, I'm just
we have money in our budget. We're not begging. We're just telling you what it goes toward. It goes towards building this channel. That's just the reality of it. So thank you to the patrons. Thank you. We're not asking anyone else. The ones we have are enough. Okay. We love you. We don't need more of you.
We do.
And we want the rest of you to be jealous and want to join. All right. This ad was sent to us. Oh, it actually was not sent to us at all.
Did you find it?
I screen grabbed this off of Instagram. It's from DePinto Guitars, which obviously I'm a fan of. I love DePinto Guitars. I love following their Instagram. They're not just a guitar builder, they're a guitar shop. Mm-hmm. So they get all sorts of stuff in. They post pictures of things that they're working on. This is some version of a Stratocaster that's been modified, and I get a kick out of it. There's a little bit of, American folk icon sort of text going on here. This machine kills you. So already we're a little aggressive here. Then my favorite part of it. I hate my dad. Upside down exclamation mark. Regular exclamation mark. And then some sort of symbol. It looks like a snake around a sword.
Oh, and is that a sword?
Infinity?
It looks like a lamppost.
Like in an infinity shape. And then a cross and an SP that are upside down.
Is that for Smashing Pumpkins?
Oh, it might be. And then to top it off, neon pink DiMarzio hot rails in a sunburst Strat with like a parchment pickguard. I actually kind of really like the pink pickups in this guitar. I think it's actually really fun. Is that weird? I actually kind of like this whole thing. I kind of like this guitar a lot.
Yeah, I don't really understand any of this art.
I don't hate my dad, but I'm really digging the artistic expression of this person who hates their dad.
The caption that DePinto posted was Woody Guthrie's teenage kid's guitar.
I hate this is my dad. I hate that's your dad. We hate our dads of all of our dads. That's Woody Guthrie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm pretty certain it is. This dad was bad for you and me.
Was Woody Guthrie's teenage kid Arlo Guthrie?
I don't know. I barely remember his name right now.
Was this like a quarter?
Yeah, there's like a quarter put into it and some sort of heavy relicking going on. This guitar obviously is subject to some serious aggression at home.
So here's the thing, right? Okay.
Can you imagine being a teenager and having this much angst in you? Remember that? Having this much angst?
No.
Yeah, Steve was probably pretty chill. I had angst. I didn't have "I hate my dad" written in pink on a guitar angst, but I
think that's like the part of it that's so hard is the fact that it's in pink.
But it's also like, that's not the way like a teenager writes either. That's not the way a teenager talks or thinks. Typically, they'd come up with something more passive aggressive.
This is like Zoomers are weird.
If my 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old, like got angry and wrote me an angry note, and it was like super extreme, this would be it. That would be the language. I hate my dad.
I feel like so here's the thing is like, this machine kills you. Like, how you have to, do teenagers understand like that this machine kills fascists?
I think oldest, this art is from a tween.
Okay.
It could be tween.
Or like,
are we looking at tween folk art here or teen folk art? Write in, guys. Let us know. P.O. Box.
This is going to sound like shade, and I don't intend this as shade.
Lay that shade on me.
I'm not trying to burn a bridge.
Oh, great.
I'm just making a statement.
Here we go.
I feel like this guitar's got a lot of tuba energy.
Oh, no. So I think she would agree. Oh, shoot. I need to tab tuba on this.
Like,
well, that would be weird, because then she'd be like, is he trying to say I hate my dad? No, I don't, tuba. I don't think you hate your dad.
I don't think like there's just,
I think no, you change the words. You change the words and 100% tuba energy.
That's what I'm saying. I think just this general aesthetic.
Tuba is a YouTube channel. I don't know if our audience is fully compatible. I'm sure there's a good...
Our audiences are not compatible. I'm in their Discord. No.
I think we have like a slight bleed over. Like, we have a lot of bleed over with like, you know, say like a normal guitar channel. We have very slight bleed over with tuba. Very specific young person humor that is delightful.
We do not...
But honestly... a billion times more music theory than you're going to get from my entire body of work in single videos.
Yeah.
It's like this really fun, she's got this really fun, wild personality and a big old brain.
Yeah. And
I'm a sincere fan. I really am. I was watching her. I was watching her power chords video the other night. I was like, damn, this is good content. This is really good.
No, and that's what I mean. It's like, it's not a slag on. There's just something that's like, this is big Zoomer energy to me, and it's like, I don't even. Now they say that this is a trash pickup. Like in the captions, DePinto says like that they pulled this out of a dumpster, so they think like the dad found it and threw the guitar away. But this just feels like
this has a different kind of mojo.
This just gives me there's something about it that's just like ironic, like is like intentionally ironic. Like, here, I don't know.
Here's my comment that I left when I posted this to the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Imagine the person playing this guitar blows up Stevie Ray Vaughan style. And decades from now, middle-aged guitarists with too much money are going to be buying reproductions of a guitar that have "I hate my dad" written in pink on them. Like, guitar luthiers are going to study for years to perfectly reproduce the line underneath "hate."
I mean, why not?
Why not indeed, Steve? Why not indeed?
What is it that Tom Morello's guitar says on it?
Eat the rich.
Arm the homeless.
Arm the homeless.
Arm the homeless.
Arm the homeless. Arm the homeless. Arm the homeless. Arm the homeless. Arm the homeless.
And that's the thing is, like, if this just said "this machine kills you," I'd be like,
that's badass.
That's pretty freaking punk rock.
Yeah.
But I hate my...
That takes it to another. This machine, the U is directed towards the dad. The dad found this guitar, is like, this guitar has a very threatening aura, and he's the one who threw it away. This machine kills you, Dad. I hate my dad. The intensity of the mojo behind this guitar is staggering. This guitar has raw energy stored inside of it like it's haunted. It is haunted by a living soul.
I wish there were more pictures of this guitar. It's got I think the finish on it looks okay. The neck actually looks like a pretty decent quality neck. I think this might have been like a Mexican Fender.
From this shot, I don't doubt that at all.
That's a replacement pickguard though. I don't think Fender ever. And
no, they do single plies every now and then.
But a single ply cream?
It's probably aged, sun aged.
And then the knobs look cheap to me. Anyway, I don't know.
I'm getting Mexican Strat vibes here.
Yeah. Well,
something about that sunburst.
Your dad threw this guitar away. Sorry,
for a dad to throw away a guitar that's got money attached to it, that's serious. He didn't try to pry that quarter off. He's like, I'm just throwing this away.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just like...
Also, it's got DiMarzios in it.
I know.
No matter the guitar, that's like $175 in pickups.
What? So this kid got a guitar from their non-musician dad because their dad doesn't care about the money, because otherwise their dad would have been like, I'm going to throw your guitar away after I salvage these DiMarzios.
Plot twist. The dad doesn't know how to read.
What?
He has no idea what the guitar says on it. So, like, hey, honey, that's a nice song. Thanks, Dad. And the whole time he's looking at a guitar that says, I hate my dad.
Oh, man. I want to know so much about this. I want to know who.
I wish I had a full shot of this guitar so we could make shirts out of it. Oh, I should just write DePinto. I'm going to write DePinto after this.
What if this is just what if this upside down thing is actually just they really, really like Stone Temple Pilots, but all they had on them was this pink paint pen. It's STP.
Yeah, it might be STP.
Could
there you
be.
Go.
Who knows? Who can even know? Who can even
It's
know?
also, I mean, read it upside down. Without the T.
DS?
Maybe they just love the DS.
Oh.
The Nintendo DS. And that the cross is the playing cross.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they just want a DS1.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Is this graphic from Chronicles of Narnia?
No.
Is that like the lamppost, and then this is Mr. Beaver's house over here, and this is the path from Mr. Beaver's house?
That's a messed up path.
To the lamp?
It looks like a sperm wrapped around a sword. Just kind of a badass imagery if you think about
it. Is. I do not think that's what...
But this guitar is genius. Think about that. Like an icon that's a sperm wrapped around a sword. You see that, you know not to dick with whatever mystic knight fraternity that is. They are not joking around.
Oh, man.
Put that on a shield and march around in medieval England. They don't even know what sperms are yet. Get us out of here, man.
All right, we're going to play another song by Clark Starace from the band Wiped Out. We played one last week. We're going to play one this week when it downloads, if it downloads. Ryan, fix your freaking internet, man.
I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Good use of a fade out on that.
Yeah.
It actually surprised me when the fade out started.
That's how the end. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like, whoa, wait. Are they going for a fade out right now? Whoa. That was great. Another great track. We played one last week too.
Yeah.
Man, their drums. They're just dropping some bombs with these drums.
Those drums sound sick.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for sending us those. Can't talk all of a sudden. Thanks for sending us those songs. Everyone out there, send us your own songs too, and we'll play them.
Yeah.
Until next time.